our moments to you now and ask that you guide us and that we learn more and more about who you are and your word, and that we have a good evening together. And we know that you are moving and active in the world, and we give you glory and honor tonight. And even as we look back in your word at the ways that you have already been active in the world. And that's it. Amen. Amen. All right, now, this little handout that you have looks maybe overwhelming, okay? And what I want to do tonight is make this not overwhelming. That is my goal, okay, to make it easy. Basically, all you really need to learn is what is in the left column. See the letter Aleph there in the left? Going all the way down there is what you're going to be learning. Okay? Everything else in here is added information that you might want to know, but you don't need to memorize it. Okay? What you're going to need to memorize is this column right there, and that you're not even going to need to do it at the level that you did the alphabet. Okay? Because as you begin to put words together, you're going to notice these vowel marks flow. Okay? It will be a lot easier than you imagine, I believe. Okay, now the name of vowels is nikudot, and they are known as points in Hebrew. Okay? And the reason there's a letter Aleph in that column is Aleph is the letter that they're using as an example of where the vowel goes. Okay? So you could use another letter there. We could have a Dalet there and run that one all the way down and look at how the vowels go. You get that then? So I have Alephs right there. Now, notice that it's divided into 5 categories. Tonight we're only going to look at one. Okay? And what we're going to look at tonight is the A type, which is a lot better if you use not A. The type vowels. And you'll notice that every one of them is as in aqua. Okay? That means you're going to have 4 vowels, and they all are Okay, so in English you have the letter A, or you have AH. Sometimes an O can be right? But in Hebrew you have these 4 vowels that are always going to be Okay? Now, they have a name. Each of these vowel marks has a name, and the name is there. You do not need to memorize the names unless you want to do that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And, depending on how far you go into it and want to be an expert, then you would need to know the names, but not in order to be able to read. You don't need to know that. So the names are given there, and the names are, believe it or not, they're in Hebrew, right in the middle. It gives you the name in Hebrew. Okay, on the left, the name that it gives you is English transliterated. So the name of that first vowel is what? Hametz. Okay? But you don't need to know that. So here's what we're going to do. Under the Aleph, right there, I'm going to make a little mark that looks like a T. Okay? See it there? And that's what's on here. That's the vowel. Okay? The Aleph is the main letter, the consonant, if you will. But the little mark right there is the vowel. that vowel makes a ah. Okay, so that's at the beginning of the word or in the middle of a word, and there's an aleph there. All right. Now you know the aleph is normally what noise does it make normally? Silent. Now it isn't anymore. Now you know that's going to be ah. Okay, like in av. All right. Okay, the next one is just a dash. It looks just like that, okay? And that's going to make the ah noise, okay? The next one is the dash with 2 dots, vertical dots like that. And the last one is a little bit tricky, okay? Because it has the T, and then it has what looks like the letter hey. Okay? And in this situation, the vowel, and I know, Jim Erickson is like, why? And my answer is, I have no idea. I'm just letting you know how it works. Okay? The vowel is the little mark, which is up there as well. Now, what is the name of that little mark? Hametz. Hametz. Okay? This is known as a hametz hey. Okay? And the vowel is actually all of this. Okay? So it's the little mark, and then it's the letter hey. Sometimes there'll be words, and you'll have a letter hey there with the little mark down there, and you'll want to go, but you don't go. It's just ah. It's an ah. Okay? So all of these are ah vowels. Ah vowels. Okay? Now, if you look at your little chart there are some examples of the use of the ah vowels in the names of the vowels. Okay? So if you look in the middle, right there in that middle chart, and in Hebrew, what are the letters? Well, you have a kaf and a mem, and what else? What's the last letter? Okay, it's ade. All right? So you would look at that, and if the vowels weren't there, you would go something like this. K-m-ts, k-m-ts. Okay? Now you have ah, and then you have another ah. No, that's actually not an ah. This second letter is an eh, but you don't have to worry about that. So you know that the beginning of that is pronounced ha. Ha. Okay? Now, the little dots that are under the mem, that will be the next vowels that we learn. That's an eh. Okay? So altogether, it's hametz. Okay? Hametz. Okay, the next one is really easy because it has two A vowels underneath the letters. All right, and how is that pronounced? Say it loud. Yes, pat-hak. Okay? Are you getting it? Kind of getting it there? Okay? The next one is going to be ha-m-f. Okay? Chat-f. Chat-f. Hametz, or hama. Anyway, that's what you need to know. Okay? So, yes?
So the vowel sound always goes after the letter that it's under?
Always is a stretched, but I would use almost always. Yes. There are vowels that you will run into down the list that make like the O, okay? That the vowel is going to be like where that hey is and not under the letter, but it'll be by the letter. There's one other vowel that's going to be above the next letter, but it's pronounced out of this letter. Okay, and it makes an O as well. So you get used to these, and then you look at the other ones, and you're like, that's a weird one. Now, that's probably an O or an U. Okay? All right, that's it. Next week, we'll learn the E, the vowels. And notice with the I'll just give you a little preview here. You have A or That's it. Okay, it's either going to be or A. A or Now, if I was a Florida man, okay, not the guy on the radio, but just a guy that was born and raised there, which I am, you might not know whether I was, saying A or because they're almost identical. And that's all right. If you know that that's an E vowel, you know it's going to make an or an A. It's not going to matter if you mess those up because they're really near. You get it? Okay? So it's a lot easier than you think it's going to be. Okay. Hang on to those. We'll grab those again next week. And we'll go into the next vowel next week. Okay, now into the notes and into the Bible, and tonight is Bashlach. Anybody remember what the word shlach means in Hebrew? What does it mean? It literally means throw, or cast, or send. All right? It's the word that is used for the idea of a sent one in the Tanakh. In the New Testament, what word is that? Who are the ones that were anointed and sent out? What is it? Okay, and what's the other word for them? Apostles. That's the Hebrew word shalach. And that's also what Pharaoh is going to do to Israel. He's going to throw them out, right? Which is the way where you get the name of the reading. Okay. Now, we read, after Pharaoh had let them go. And let them go is a little bit light on the translation. It would be better after Pharaoh had thrown them out, right? Because he wanted to get rid of them. He was like, get out of here, okay? God did not guide them to the highway that goes through the land of the Philistine because it was close by. God thought that the people upon seeing war might change their minds and return to Egypt. Rather, God led the people by a roundabout route through the desert by the Sea of Suf. The people of Israel went up from the land of Egypt fully armed. Now, I would like to give you a little word about the Bible translation that I am using this year, which is what? The Complete Jewish Bible. And I have this news about it if you didn't already know it. It's not really a translation. Okay? It's more of a paraphrase. There are other Bibles like that, okay, that you know well. One of them is the Message, okay? Another one is an older one that I used for many years, the Living Bible, okay? So rather than look at a word and then translate the word, what the Complete Jewish Bible does is it translates a whole idea and it puts it into a more Hebraic way of phrasing it. All right? So as long as you know that, then you're good to go. Now, some people argue that those are not good to use. You should never use those, and my question is, why not? Why? I mean, I want to know what it means. I want to know what it meant to them, and I want to know what it means to me. So there's nothing wrong with looking at it from different angles. Okay? Word for word doesn't work in any language. Okay? It makes it the order wrong. It makes it, for lack of a better word, it has bumps in it. All right? But you want to, when they bring it into English, they smooth out the bumps. Now, sometimes you lose something when you do that, which is why when people ask, what Bible do I use? My answer is, I have about 8 of them that I use every week, normally. Even in my morning devotions, I use more than one. All right? Because I want to know what it means. I want to get to the real bottom of it. And people like you that are interested and want to dig in, then get more than one. And there is not one in English that is the best. There just isn't. I mean, I look at all